Okay, this video is on solving one or two-step inequalities. Okay, and just as a review, we're going to do one problem. Throughout this video, don't worry about the numbers; they're all mixed. I just want to show you examples and go over solving these inequalities and then graphing them. All right. So for the first one, we have a negative n. Okay, negative n is less than or equal to negative 5. All right, what we talked about last time is either dividing the n by negative 1 or just flipping or changing the sign. But most importantly, we have to flip the inequality sign if we have a negative variable and we're dividing by a negative. Okay, if we're dividing by a negative, we have to flip the inequality sign. Alright, and when we do that, we get n is greater than or equal to positive 5 as our answer. Okay, negative 1 cancels out here, and then we get negative 5 divided by negative 1, which is positive 5. And we flip the inequality sign. Alright, and that's only when you divide by a negative. I should put multiply 2. Because you never know if you're going to do that. Alright, so we get n is greater than or equal to 5. So we go to 5 on our number line. Okay, if it's or equal to, less than or equal to, or greater than or equal to, it's going to be a solid dot because it includes that number. And we're going to shade in the direction that our inequality is pointing. Okay, that means that any number, even further than this number line, can fit into our inequality here. So if I chose 6, 6 is greater than or equal to 5. That works out. Okay, and 6 is what we shaded. Alright, now, if I chose 6 and I plugged it into the original equation, into here, I'd have negative 6 is less than or equal to negative 5, which is true also. Okay, if I didn't flip the inequality sign, I would have n is less than or equal to 5. Okay, and if I plugged in 6 here, I'd have 6 is less than or equal to 5, which is not true. And this is the reason why we have to flip the inequality sign. Alright, so with this lesson, what we're going to do is we're going to now solve one-step or two-step inequalities. And they're very similar to solving one or two-step equations. Okay, the only thing you have to worry about is adjusting the inequality sign if need be. Alright, so what you might want to do is write your work on a separate sheet or find some extra space on your paper when you're doing these. Alright, the first one, we have n minus 2 is less than or equal to 4. Alright, and this is just like if I were to do n minus 2 equals 4. Okay, I have to get rid of the minus 2, so I add 2 to both sides. Alright, and I get n equals 6. Well, I'm going to do the same thing here. Add 2 to both sides, and I get n is less than or equal to 6. So I'm going to go to 6 on my number line, draw a solid dot, and then shade in the direction of the inequality. Alright, next one, I have negative 18 plus n is less than negative 7. I'll have to get n by itself, so I have to get rid of this minus 18, so I'm going to add 18 to both sides. They cancel out. I'm left with positive n is less than 11. Alright, so I go to 11, draw an open dot because it's not equal to 11, and then I'm going to shade left. Alright, now we're getting into some problems where we have to multiply or divide. 14 times v is less than or equal to 14. Well, I want to get v by itself, so I'm going to divide by 14 to get rid of it. That cancels out, and I'm going to divide by 14 on the other side. Okay? Since we divided by a positive, we don't have to flip the sign, or we don't flip the sign. Keep the sign the same. Alright, and we got v is less than or equal to 1. So you go to 1, draw a solid dot, and shade in the direction of the arrow. Alright, number 3, negative 4 times r is greater than 16. Alright, in this case, we have a negative variable, and then when we go to divide to get rid of it, we're dividing by a negative. Alright, so what do? We divide by negative. That means we have to flip the sign. These cancel out. We have r is less than negative 4. So we go to negative 4, and we shade to the less than sign. Okay. M divided by 3 is less than or equal to 5. Okay, so we're going to multiply by 3. Okay, in this case we're multiplying by positive 3, so our sign, our inequality sign, is going to stay the same. Alright, whatever we do to one side, we have to do to the other side. These cancel out. I'm left with m is less than or equal to 15. So I go to 15, draw a solid dot because it's or equal to, and shade left. Alright, number 17, we have 24 is greater than or equal to negative 4n. Alright, now what we learned previously is we could flip the entire inequality in order to get the variable on the other side. So I'm going to put negative 4n on this side. I'm going to flip the inequality because I'm flipping the entire problem. So I have negative 4n is less than or equal to 24. Now I'm going to solve it. Divide by negative 4. Cancels out. N is greater than or equal to negative 6. Remember, we divided by a negative, so we have to flip the sign. So we go to negative 6, draw a solid dot, and we're going to shade right. Alright, here are some two-step equations. We have negative 2r minus 2 is less than or equal to 4. Okay, and if you remember, we have to get rid of addition or subtraction first. Alright, so this means that we have negative 2 times r. Alright, so we're going to do that afterwards. We're going to get rid of the 2 first. So I'm left with negative 2r on the left is less than or equal to 6. Alright, now I'm going to divide by the negative 2 on both sides, which means I have to flip the inequality. These cancel. R is greater than or equal to negative 3. So I'm going to go to negative 3, draw a solid dot because it's equal to or equal to, and shade right. Number 8 here, 9 plus n divided by 2 is greater than 16. Okay, we're going to subtract 9 on both sides first to get rid of it because we have our variable here, and that's division. Bring that down, we get n over 2 equals 7, is greater than 7. To get rid of division, we multiply. So I have n is greater than 14. So I'm going to go to 14, draw an open dot, and shade to the greater than sign. Alright, last couple. 60 is greater than 5 minus 5n. Alright, and I can flip this around if I want. 5 minus 5n is less than 60. Alright, remember flipping the inequality sign if you're flipping the order. Alright, I'm going to minus the 5 first because this is together. So I minus 5 over here. I have negative 5 left over. Negative 5n is less than 55. And then I'm going to divide by negative 5, which means that I have to flip the sign around. So I get n is greater than negative 11. Alright, so I find negative 11 on my number line between negative 12 and negative 10. draw an open dot, and it's greater than, so I'm going to shade right. The last one is not on your paper, so please write it in, okay? Because this one includes distributive property, and I wanted to make sure you guys had one of these on your notes. Okay, first, if you want to flip it, you can. -5 times k minus 3, and I'm going to flip the inequality sign and write the -90 on the other side. Okay, first step is to distribute. So we have -5 times k, and then -5 times -3 is positive 15. Alright, now we have the variable here, that's multiplication, so we're going to get rid of everything else first. This cancels. We have -105 and -5k is less than or equal to -105. I'm going to divide by -5, which means I got to flip the sign. I have k on the left, and then I have -105 divided by -5, which is positive 21. I'm going to go to 21. So I have k is greater than or equal to 21, so I have a solid dot on 21, and I'm going to shade right. Okay, please use this when you're practicing on inequalities, and then you can hand these in with your worksheet when you're done.